Good morning. My name is Mark Brenton. I'm the Park Operations. I'll give you your daily briefing for July 31st. Going to explain, go around the fire, explain what happened in the past 24 hours, and talk about some of our successes and challenges throughout the day, and what we're going to be doing in today's operations. As we move up from the heel to the western part of the fire, up into this pocket, we have really good direct line in there. Have been doing a significant amount of mop up on the fire. That's looking really cold, especially as we get closer to the bottom of the heel of the fire. And a lot of good success there. We've been able to put just a patrol status, so it hasn't been utilizing a lot of our resources unnecessarily, but we still have eyes on that part of the fire and continue to mop up and patrol. So that's looking really good, feeling very comfortable with that. As we move up into the other western part of the fire where Highway 36 comes in, that is a very difficult area. It's in our Division Tango Hotel area. Very steep, very rugged terrain. We've had fire that's been burning into around Antelope Creek. Crews have been trying to go in there, go direct within that creek drainages. Been going in there, and during the later afternoon, fire intensity increased. They've had to have been chased out of there. They've been mitigating the safety concerns and taking care to be careful when they're going in, and a good plan. However, it's just been the fire conditions and the topography and the fuels have really been a challenge for those crews. So much so that we've, in order to get into those areas that are very remote, are usually 4-hour plus drives by road, the best way to employ the crews in so that they get the most amount of work is that we are starting to do a air shuttle, so flying them by copter from the heli base all the way into that remote area, dropping them off, and then they will be working on the line throughout there for 48 to 72 hours, being able to produce the amount of work that we need in that very steep, rugged, and dangerous terrain. So high-risk operation, something that we have planned for. We have placed mitigations for the safety of the personnel, and are monitoring the operation throughout. But it is one of those very difficult, high-risk, and very complicated operations that we undertake. But it is something that we have to do in this particular case. As we move further up onto the Highway 36 corridor, looking really good. We have Lanes Valley working north. It's wrapped, has good line in it, starting to do good heavy mop up. That was an area that was challenging to us for the past 48 hours, especially 2 days ago when we had a lot of spot fires. The crews were engaged, having to chase those, and so they were able to pick those up and wrap those up, which that's really good news. It is slow going though. Lanes Valley to Highway 36. That has been very difficult terrain to work in. A lot of challenges there. And then around the community of Manton, they've not only done direct line to protect that, but also a lot of contingency lines, so secondary line to fall back on to protect the community. So they're taking those opportunities when they can to not only have a primary line, but something in their back pocket in case something were to happen, to give us another line to fall back on and have success. We're also continuing to prep line around the community of Mineral. That's looking really good and having success there. As we move around into coming down the Highway 32 corridor into what we call Branch 15, a lot of challenges there. That is, again, as I've been saying, a lot of very difficult, tough terrain, very rugged, heavy fuels, very complex firefighting in there. We've had, over the past number of days, like other parts of the fire, a number of slop overs or spot fires throughout there, and that really diverts the attention from putting in main direct line to the fire. So we have to surge our resources to those locations. It is a bit frustrating and challenging, but however, if we do not pick those up, then all is for naught as far as all the direct line and hard work we put in. So folks are focused on that and working to have a contingency plan and are prepared for it each day because it's become kind of a daily thing. So they are preparing that. On the same time, as far as giving them some backup there, contingency lines are placing at the same time. So again, a fallback line if they are unsuccessful with picking up those spot fires or slop overs directly right away. As we continue down 32 into what we call our branch 20, just above Forest Ranch. That's been a challenging area for us for the past number of days. We had that slop over about 150 acres about 3 days ago. Continuing to work it. It's got a lot of heavy dead and down fuels in there that are very hot fuels. We've had a number of spots throughout the past couple days. They've been able to pick it up because we've had a lot of resources working in there, putting a lot of hard work, putting direct line and backup contingency line to secure that, but it is very difficult. Also in that area of great concern, going to be a really big challenge, to be very honest with you, for the coming days, is fire is established in Mill Creek. We've had a lot of smoke that due to the weather conditions that have settled in there. So it's very difficult for our ground crews to be able to get in to do that, because going down into that very steep, rugged terrain, very hazardous, very dangerous for those folks to operate in that conditions. So we have to take major mitigations for safety, take our time to scout and recon that, because if we do not, we put our firefighters in a very precarious situation. We do not have the air support in that area because of the smoke. They cannot fly. If we had clear air, we would be able to utilize and support those ground crews with the air operations, both fixed wing and rotor wing, which we have on hand. However, they cannot fly in those conditions. What we have utilized to our advantage, at least to know generally where the fire is burning, is we have a lot of thermal imagery that we're able to utilize so that we have an idea of where roughly the fire is, what it's doing as far as intensity, and we've been able to use that with our unmanned aerial platforms to be able to do that through both day and night, as well as some fixed wing aircraft that are reconnaissance aircraft that have those capabilities. And so at least our ground crews that are scouting that and reconning that they have some real-time data and intel to check on and make sure that they're being safe and they're in a good situation, and to put together a plan. So that's going to be ongoing. It's going to be slow work. We're working with the timber companies in the area that they've put in a lot of great control lines on their land that has helped us, so that saved us a lot of time in putting those in. We're working hand in hand with those folks to help us mitigate the situation. The big operation there is going to be at least putting in parallel lines along Mill Creek until we can actually find a good location, a safe location to dive down to cut through that drainage and connect the lines on either side of that creek. But that's going to be a long, arduous, dangerous, ongoing operation. Finally, as we move down closer to Forest Ranch, that's been repopulated day and a half or 2 days so far. Still ongoing work with mop-up and patrol in that area with the people that are already back in there. So a lot of calls for service, calling that they see smokes or that there's hot stump holes, those kind of things near their property or on their land or adjacent to their home. And crews are in there diligently working and continue to render that safe with the population in there. But we were happy to get those folks home and get them back to a sense of normalcy the best we can in the situation. In the community of Cohasset, we are continuing work within that. It's a bit of an island in there, but a lot of hard work they're putting in there. They're working diligently to be able to render that safe, so that when that gets repopulated, that there'll be a safe location without threat to personnel, the civilians, and their property. So a lot of hard work being done by us, and then also by the various utility companies to be able to provide services so that it's as close to normalcy as possible for those folks when they repopulate that area. Throughout the fire, a lot of contingency lines, some backup lines for us that are placed. For the Shasta zone, they are working on completing their project, their safety and contingency lines within that area. Hopefully they should have that done today. A lot of hard work, a lot of ground that they've covered. So that should provide a good line of protection if the fire were to advance even further in that area. Throughout Tehama, across the head of the fire backing off, they're working on a lot of contingency lines across the head and then working down the shoulder and the backside of this branch 15, which is a very troublesome, problematic, hard area to work in. But they have a plan. They are working. A lot of resources in there. It's just a lot of land to cover, a lot of heavy fuels to have to remove, and very difficult ground to do that. Down into the Butte zone with contingency, fantastic hard work done there. Down the hardest part is Portuguese Point. They've had a really difficult time just due to the fuel loading in there, and then the terrain, topography, the rock. It's just not easy area to work in. But also working back towards Mill Creek, they're refocusing there so that they can provide a parallel line of safety for those crews I was talking about working there, or if we cannot get direct and the fire increases intensity, that we have a line to fall back on in that particular area. So they are working. They've got a really good plan, working together. I've got a lot of resources there. We do have a ton of resources on this this incident. However, it's a lot. This is a huge fire. We are at currently over 300,000 acres on this incident. We are at the exact number of 389,791 acres at 18% containment. That's huge. That's a huge. Talking probably well over 270 miles of fire line. So a lot. We have a lot of resources. We are a top priority fire in the state. However, other fires are breaking out throughout the state the past day or so. We are expecting some very adverse weather conditions that are not conducive to suppression operations. Hot, dry weather, and coming thunderstorms that are very dangerous and to the firefighters and fire spread. So that is going to challenge us this weekend. We are preparing for it. It is on our radar. We are coming up with alternative plans and how we are going to take care of that. If there are other additional starts, and how we are going to be able to send resources to mitigate those incidents. We are also being helped by Western states. So we have a number of resources that other states are sending. Later today and into tomorrow, we'll be receiving, for instance, a number of resources from the state of Texas in the form of fire engines. So we're very happy to be having those folks join us and help us out. Also, some other states that will be sending resources in the coming days will be the state of Utah, North Dakota, and Nevada. So as these resources come in, we'll be prepping them, briefing them, and then putting them out on the line to help us out. As well as we also have the National Guard. They are bringing additional air assets into the game, as well as we are utilizing some add-on National Guard hand crews that are currently being trained now, and we should see them the soonest in Saturday, which will be very helpful for us. Our aircraft is looking really good. We currently have around 40 helicopters, rotor wing aircraft that are flying the fire, working the fire. We also have a number of fixed-wing aircraft that are assigned to the incident. Our one challenge is due to the smoke conditions we've been seeing in the past day or two with the weather, that they can't fly 100% of the time on 100% of the fire. So when we can, we are flying the aircraft, utilizing them the best we possibly can, most effectively we can, to support our ground troops on the ground with the fire suppression activities. So as the weather changes, the use of those aircraft is going to be change as well. There'll be areas of opportunity that we can fly more than others, but once we can fly them, we will and put them to work. Thank you.